relatives of a member of the fire department of New York would not want to issue or launch or help launch a class action suit. One is they're being paid off to keep their mouths shut. And secondly, they're scared to death.
Right.
Because their relatives were murdered on 911. This wasn't an accident where they happened to be inside the building that fell on them, because the radios, the Motorola radios that they were using, had been hacked.
How do we know that?
Because they didn't get the order to evacuate.
Due to
Right?
hacking?
None of them. They were hacked, right? And the Motorola radios that they had used through the 1993 attack had been taken out of commission, I think around March of 2001, and replaced with a later model Motorola system that lasted about a week, when they found it wasn't good enough to get to the firefighters who'd been trapped in a building. So for a week, all of the Fire Department of New York radios, Motorola radios, were taken out of commission, giving an opportunity to modify them for jamming purposes. Then they were returned to them.
Wow.
All right. So I looked now in the patents available to Motorola, and it turns out there's a number of patents that relate to encryption.
Yeah.
Right. That would allow a number of the insiders of the Fire Department of New York to be issued with radios that would work, whereas the grunts, the guys who went up into the building, were issued with radios that could be jammed.
Wow.
Now, you talked earlier about igniting these incendiaries. Well, those Motorola radios that were used, and I believe issued to certain insiders of the Fire Department of New York, could have been hooked up to igniters in the elevator shafts.
But David, it's so hard to believe that members of the New York City Fire Department would knowingly allow, they actually refer to each other as brothers when they're in the fire department.
Of course they do, but there's another option. They may knowingly or unknowingly have allowed their Motorola radios to be modified such that an injection of an ignition signal could come through the Motorola radio, right, used by, for example, the fire chief who was killed outside the North Tower, having survived the collapse of the South Tower. And my prediction is that we will find his radio system was used to relay an ignition signal into the North Tower and bring it down and kill him.
Wow.
Right? So you don't need, in many ways with this technology, it's smarter to issue something or some technology to a patsy, if you will, and not tell them that their modified piece of equipment can be used to relay or jam the signals or communication system used by their colleagues, like the guys who went into the building and didn't get the message to evacuate.